Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a trend that I've seen on TikTok and putting it into a YouTube video. What I've seen are people with very precise professions tell others what they do or don't care about when it comes to what other people do. So I thought it was going to be fun as a professional knitting teacher to let you know what I do and don't care about as far as your knitting goes. And one thing before I even start the list I do care about is constant learning and improvement. For me as a knitting teacher, I still want to learn all the time. And that's why today's sponsor is Craftsy. Craftsy is an online community for makers by makers. You can learn so many techniques when it comes to knitting, but also obviously crocheting, weaving, woodworking, yoga, cooking, baking. You can do so many things on there, and that's why I love working with them. All the classes are taught by professionals and they are well packaged into very precise subjects. You can learn everything there is to know about knitting, from your first projects and how to start to shearing sheep. Yes, there is even a class about shearing sheep. Springtime is definitely here. I see flowers everywhere in my garden, which makes me want to knit more lace somehow. And there is a class called Knitting Nature by Jen Lucas, where you're gonna learn a bunch of lace patterns that you can add to projects as borders or even a main texture. And through those classes, you'll get patterns, you'll get bonus material, you'll also get a community where you can ask questions and get answers from the instructors. The first 1,000 people to click in the link in the description or scan this QR code will get a full year of premium membership for $1.49, and this is valid for new members only. As always, thank you so much, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video. Now, let's talk some more about things I do and don't care about. And we'll start with one that is the most important to me. I don't care how you knit or hold your needles. Continental knitters, English knitters, Portuguese knitters, everything that you do is valid as long as you're creating the fabric that you want to create and you are not hurting yourself. So I would love to stop seeing comments on videos where people are like, oh, I wish I was a continental knitter, or I wish I could learn how to do this other style. If you want to, you can. That is absolutely fine. It is actually really interesting to know more than one technique. But ultimately, I don't mind. I don't care which technique you are using. You're knitting and you're creating fabric, and that's the most important part. One thing I do care about is you understanding your stitches. Generally, when people ask me, what am I doing wrong, or something's not happening and I don't know why, the first thing I will tell them is to get me a picture or to show me what they're doing so I can help them understand why it is not working and not just fix their mistake without explaining why. Generally, when I see comments under my educational videos that say, oh my God, you talk too much, it's too long, get to the point, my answer is, well, I like to let you know why I'm doing the technique and not just doing the technique, because just doing it does not teach you much and doesn't help you when it comes time to fix your mistakes or not make the same mistakes again. So learning to read your stitches is absolutely something I do recommend. One thing I don't really care about, which oftentimes people are super surprised about, is a project being flawless. I don't care. I mean, it has to look good and it has to be generally well made, but if there's a mistake that is done somewhere that's not obvious and that doesn't change the beauty of the garment, I don't care. I don't care. And to be honest, unless you're gonna point it to me, the mistake that you've made, I won't notice it. I'll notice my own, obviously, but I won't point it to people. I won't do it on purpose because someone telling me, hey, I love your sweater, it's beautiful. My first reaction is, thank you very much. I made it. I love it. When your answer is thank you, here are all the mistakes I made, you're devaluating your own, devaluing your own work. And oftentimes people won't even notice your mistakes. So having pristine, perfect garments or finished objects is not something that I'm necessarily after. Same thing goes for joins. People are always asking, if I work in the round, how do I get around the visible join when you do stripes or color work? And as much as it can be bothersome to some people, I don't care. I really don't. Generally, I'll just put it in a place where it's the least visible, meaning under the arm for a sweater, behind the head for a hat. But I don't really spend my time trying to fix something when it's actually just the way the fabric behaves naturally. Again, something that people won't notice unless it's you and you're looking really close. Another thing I don't care about is which fibers you are using to knit your items. All fibers have their place. All fibers have their reasons to be. But what I do care about is that you take into consideration that a different fiber will have a different effect. So if you are using a different fabric, don't be feeling bad for using a different fabric or fiber than the designer, but do your research to know how the fiber will react once knitted, washed, block, all these things. Because if you end up with a very, very loosey-goosey large hat that was supposed to be all ribbing tight to your head, but you used alpaca instead of wool, then my answer is the yarn choice was just not the right one for this fabric. The yarn choice, the yarn itself can be beautiful and amazing. It is just the wrong pattern for that fiber. So there are no wrong fibers. There are only wrong pattern for the fibers, in my opinion. One thing I absolutely do care about is telling others that they're doing something wrong when it is just another way of doing it. There is no such thing as one way to do things. And so when I teach, I generally try to avoid the words wrong and right, but I try to use words like this is my preference, or I prefer this or that because of XYZ. I very much believe that if your favorite technique is the opposite of my favorite technique, they both still have a place where they can live together in harmony. One thing that might surprise you is that I don't care if you end up donating, giving away, getting rid of any knits, hand knits at all. I every once in a while will empty my drawers and go through my sweaters and decide that, you know, this one that I knit 2 years ago was great for me back then. Now it's not something that I want to wear anymore for whatever reason, and it goes to the donation pile. Did I spend a lot of time knitting it? Absolutely. But did I have a lot of fun doing it? Absolutely as well. So the time that I spent knitting it is not taken away from me by me donating something. So, and once it's out of my hands, it's out of my hands. People will do what people will do to it, and it's no more my problem. So if I give something to a family member and I tell them how to wash it and they don't wash it properly, then I go, unfortunately, that's what it is. It's not going to go back to its original shape. Live and learn. There is no big heartbreak for me at that point because I spent all that time having fun knitting it. And so if it's not fun, but it's more like labor, then I would probably not give my hand knitted items. I would just keep them for me. But as a person who's knitted a lot of garments in my life. I have no problem just getting rid of them when I don't use them and feel happy that they are going to be useful to someone else but me. I also don't care how much yarn you own. You can own a room full of yarn or nothing but the yarn that you have on your needles right now. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't mind. I have a lot, but I also have a business that's related to yarn. But even if I didn't have a business and I had a lot, that's part of the fun, right? Having materials that you can work with is part of the fun, but also some people don't like the clutter. They don't like the extra stuff, so they will only buy the yarn that they need at the moment they need it. But I refuse to feel bad about having a lot of yarn, and I refuse to make other people feel bad about the amount that they have. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. You can have a little bit, you can have a lot. Don't feel bad for any of it. What I do care about is when people complain that their finished item is not to their liking, size-wise or fabric-wise, and they have not done a swatch. If you didn't do a swatch, you don't get to complain. You don't. When I don't do a swatch and it's not the way I want it, I don't complain. Maybe I'll tell to myself, I'll say to myself, why did you not swatch? But I won't go complaining about it because it's my own fault. I put myself, I made that bed and I have to lay in it. Maybe that was the last take that I had for you today, because that one is always a big one. People will keep telling me I won't swatch. I'm fine with that. I don't care if you don't swatch. What I care about is if you complain after not swatching. That's the big difference. So if you have do's and don'ts, things that you do care about and don't care about, leave them in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to have a chat with you about it. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video with your takes on that subject. If you are interested in seeing more of my videos, you can go there. Let me know if there are different types of videos you would like to see from me, tutorials, more opinion pieces, things like that. And once again, thank you to Craftsy for sponsoring this video.